The flashing cameras, the crowd just like freezing in anticipation.
Oh, yeah.
The highly anticipated, globally analyzed Instagram photo dump. We are talking about a $1.7 million Sicilian backdrop. We're looking at a custom Chanel haute couture gown that literally took over 1,000 hours to make.
It's insane.
And yet, the internet zeroed in on something entirely unexpected. The headline is literally, Dua Lipa's wedding photos have everyone saying the same thing. We're figuring out exactly why a simple shirt broke the internet on today's Deep Dive. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
So today's deep dive is really deconstructing the lavish 9-day multi-city deconstructed wedding of pop superstar Dua Lipa and actor Callum Turner.
A 9-day wedding. I mean, just let that sink in.
Right. But to understand why a piece of menswear overshadowed a $1 million dress, we really have to look at the underlying theme of this entire event, which is the power of contrast in modern celebrity culture.
Like, if you were listening to this thinking, I don't have $1.7 million, so why should I care about a celebrity wedding? You really need to look at how this narrative was built. The way public figures control their image has fundamentally shifted, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally changed.
We are moving away from the era where everything is just this high-gloss, manufactured spectacle right from day one. And to see that shift, you just look at how this, like, book club of two turned into the celebrity romance of the year, starting back in early 2024.
The timeline moves incredibly fast,
Mm-hmm.
but it starts with a distinctly grounded narrative. Following the private premiere after-party in L.A. for Callum's Apple TV Plus series, Masters of the Air, the public sightings began.
Right, the paparazzi shots.
Exactly. They were seen at a Q&A at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica, and then, crucially, at Sushi Park in L.A. And Sushi Park operates as this unique ecosystem for high-profile couples.
Oh, for sure.
It is a known celebrity hotspot for PDA. It's where figures like Taylor Swift and Harry Styles go when they want to be seen, but in an environment that feels casual and, unpolished.
Okay, I have to challenge the idea of authenticity there, though. Let's be real. Going to Sushi Park is practically a calculated PR move at this point.
Fair point. It is very visible.
It's exactly where you go to be, quote-unquote, caught by paparazzi. But what actually gave this relationship a sense of genuine depth wasn't the sushi date at all. It was the meet-cute story that Callum shared with the Sunday Times in late 2025.
The book story.
Yeah. They were having drinks before a mutual friend's birthday party, sat next to each other, and realized they were reading the exact same book, Hernan Diaz's Pulitzer-winning novel, Trust.
Such a great book, by the way.
It is. And Callum mentioned he had just finished the first chapter, and Dua replied that she had just finished the first chapter, too.
And he literally replied, so we're on the same page.
I mean, you can't write a better rom-com script than that.
You really can't.
Yeah.
And in a landscape dominated by highly orchestrated PR romances, bonding over a piece of literary fiction in real time totally reframed how the public viewed their relationship.
Completely.
Trust is a complex novel about wealth, illusion, and competing narratives. The fact that two massive stars connected over a dense intellectual piece of literature gave their very public romance a deeply private foundation.
And, I mean, that intellectual foundation really set the stage for their first major contrast, right? After a whirlwind year of jet setting and the New Year's Eve engagement soft launch, we arrive at May 30th, 2026.
The London ceremony.
The old Marylebone Town Hall in London. They had an intimate civil ceremony. Dua arrived in a custom-tailored ivory Schiaparelli skirt suit designed by Daniel Roseberry.
It was stunning.
It featured these striking gold buttons, an oversized wide-brimmed hat by Stephen Jones, white gloves, and pointed Christian Louboutin pumps.
And fashion historians immediately recognized the reference there. She was channeling Bianca Jagger's iconic 1971 courthouse wedding ensemble from when she married Mick Jagger in Saint-Tropez.
Oh, wow, yes.
Bianca Jagger totally revolutionized bridal wear by opting for a tailored suit instead of a traditional gown, which signaled independence and modernity. So by adopting that look, Dua was communicating a specific message.
Which was what exactly?
That this London ceremony was about grounded partnership, not pop star theatricality. And Callum complemented this perfectly by wearing a classic navy double-breasted suit by Ferragamo.
To me, looking at these photos, this civil ceremony functioned exactly like a movie's soft launch.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Think about when a massive blockbuster releases a really moody, exclusive teaser trailer. It's an intimate moment before the massive sequel premieres. But let me push back on the psychology of this a bit.
Go for it.
Why are megastars increasingly splitting their weddings into these distinct phases? Like, if you have the resources, why not just host one massive event and get it all over with?
Well, the pressure of the global stage is immense, and the paparazzi culture surrounding these events has become intrusive to the point of being destructive.
True. Helicopters over the venue, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So by having a private legal ceremony with just close family complete with confetti on the steps of the town hall, which was so cute, they satisfy the legal and emotional requirements in a safe bubble.
They extract the anxiety of the actual legal binding from the public performance.
You hit the nail on the head. Once the paperwork and the private tears are handled, they can step onto the global stage and perform the celebration of the marriage without the pressure of a microscope on their most intimate vows.
But wait till you hear what came next. Because the London Registry was really just the opening act for a $1.7 million Sicilian spectacle.
The sequel, as you called it.
The blockbuster sequel. That desire for contrast brings us to the visual strategy of the weekend in Palermo.
Less than a week after the London civil ceremony, the couple kicked off the weekend with a welcome party in the streets of Palermo, specifically in the Piazza Croce dei Vespri.
And the wardrobe shifted drastically here.
Totally. Dua wore a custom leather Bottega Veneta dress featuring a low open back and a feathered skirt.
But the detail that stood out in the paparazzi photos wasn't just the leather dress, it was the party decor. They literally used physical bookshelves as part of the styling in the piazza.
I loved that detail.
Right. It was a direct visual nod to their literary meet-cute over the novel trust. Carrying a thematic thread from a quiet bar in LA all the way to a Sicilian street party shows an incredible level of narrative control.
And that narrative control peaked on June 6th at the Sorkic 18th century mansion, Villa Valguanera.
It's gorgeous.
Often referred to as a little Versailles, the setting provided just this lush, maximalist backdrop.
Okay, I hear you on the anxiety reduction of splitting the wedding, but let's be real for a second. Renting out an 18th century Italian mansion and filling it with voluminous clusters of greenery and gauzy white bows doesn't exactly sound pressure-free to me.
I mean, logistically, sure.
They had custom embroidered handkerchiefs for the guests reading "Stay Mad with Me Forever." They served a lavish dinner of local Sicilian fare, anelletti alla norma, panelle, crochet, and cannoli. How does a $1.7 million production reduce stress?
Because the emotional heavy lifting was already done in London? The Sicilian event wasn't a wedding in the traditional anxiety-inducing sense. It was a highly curated performance of celebration.
Okay.
And the centerpiece of that performance was the Chanel gown.
We have to stop and explain the sheer mechanics of this dress because calling it a gown feels like a massive understatement.
It really does.
It was the first Chanel haute couture wedding dress designed by Mathieu Blazy for a friend of the house. According to Vogue, it featured a 6-meter tulle wedding veil and was covered in 480,000 beads.
Just staggering.
But the most staggering detail is the trompe-l'oeil jewels.
Yeah.
For those unfamiliar with the term, trompe-l'oeil is a French phrase meaning deceive the eye.
Right.
So instead of wearing physical necklaces or bracelets, the artisans at Lesage used thread and beads to embroider optical illusions of 3D jewelry directly onto the fabric.
The craftsmanship required to achieve that illusion is why the dress required 1,155 hours of microscopic needlework.
Over 1,000 hours.
Over 1,000. And on top of that, it was delicately underlined with 25,000 feathers applied by Le Marrier, another specialist atelier in Paris.
Wow.
When we talk about haute couture, we're really talking about preserving centuries-old artisanal techniques. This dress was quite literally a piece of wearable architecture that required an army of specialists to construct.
So you have this unbelievable historic $1 million setting. You have a dress that practically requires its own security detail because of the labor involved. Dua Lipa posts the official photos to your Instagram.
And the world stops to look.
And the world stops to look. And yet, the internet has a completely different takeaway. We have arrived at the viral response. Despite the 1,000-hour dress, everyone was saying the exact same thing, and it wasn't about the 480,000 beads.
It really wasn't.
It was about Callum's shirt.
The internet and high-fashion critics, including British GQ, became completely obsessed with Callum Turner's custom Louis Vuitton attire. Specifically, his classic pleated-bib tuxedo shirt with a point collar and a bow tie.
Is a groom's shirt upstaging a pop star's $1 million wedding dress the ultimate fashion plot twist of the year?
It might be the most revealing fashion plot twist of the decade, honestly.
Really?
Think about it. We expect the bride to wear something show-stopping, especially a global fashion icon. We are culturally conditioned to scrutinize the wedding dress. But to understand why this shirt broke the internet, we have to look at the history of modern menswear.
Okay, lay it on me.
Over the last 10 to 15 years, menswear for grooms has become incredibly minimalistic. The trend has leaned heavily toward a smooth, almost corporate modern tuxedo look. Grooms have been opting for plain, flat-front dress shirts, completely stripping away texture and detail.
Sometimes even ditching the tie altogether, right?
Exactly, to appear relaxed and effortless.
Which, honestly, that minimalist trend makes grooms look like they're heading to a sleek boardroom meeting rather than a historic, romantic ceremony. So when Callum stepped out in a pleated bib tuxedo shirt, it was a massive visual disruption.
It was. A pleated bib is a highly traditional, vintage-inspired piece of menswear tailoring that harks back to old Hollywood glamour. It has texture, it catches the light, it demands attention.
It definitely caught everyone's attention.
And wearing a point collar and pleats requires a specific kind of confidence to pull off without looking like you were wearing a costume. By committing to those traditional details, he stood out sharply against the modern trend of invisible groom styling.
He wasn't just standing next to the bride acting as a neutral backdrop. He was holding his own in a sartorial dialogue with her Chanel gown.
Perfectly said.
That shirt sparked a massive conversation because it signaled that traditional, elevated menswear tailoring is making a comeback. Hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
And, the scale of the fashion was totally mirrored by the scale of the attendance. This wasn't just a fashion show for two, it was a cultural summit.
Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking hidden meaning behind the bride's day-after accessory. But first, let's look at who is actually sitting in those chairs with the gauzy white bows. The guest list was a masterclass in cross-industry influence.
You saw a convergence of music royalty, fashion titans, and indie culture. Donatella Versace was there, representing the upper echelon of global fashion.
Of course she was.
You had Charli XCX and George Daniel, Joe Alwyn, Mark Ronson, and Kevin Parker from Tame Impala.
It's an unbelievably curated dinner party, but the moment that truly anchored the entire weekend in pop culture history involved Sir Elton John.
Gives me chills just thinking about it.
Dua and Elton collaborated on the massive hit Cold Heart, and their relationship has always been highly supportive. During the romantic vow swap, Elton John reportedly sat at the piano and serenaded the couple with Your Song.
Having Elton John sing Your Song at an 18th century Sicilian villa elevates the event beyond a standard celebrity wedding. It turns the ceremony into a piece of documented cultural history.
Truly.
But the most revealing part of the weekend was how they handled the come-down from that grand, opulent night.
Right, because the day after a wedding is usually a frantic scramble to check out of hotels, but they hosted a farewell gathering for their loved ones. Dua stepped out in a sheer white lace dress and accessorized it with a Chloe swan bag.
The swan bag.
It seems like a small detail, but the symbolism of the swan is incredibly specific.
Swans are famously known to mate for life, representing eternal love and unwavering commitment.
Using a swan bag was a beautiful thematic bow to tie on her entire wedding weekend wardrobe. From the Bianca Jagger power suit communicating grounded partnership, to the bookish Bottega Veneta leather honoring their meet cute, to the historic Chanel haute couture embracing the spectacle, and finally, the sweet, symbolic swan bag.
She was communicating her entire emotional journey through fashion.
And the structure of this emotional journey brings us to the core concept of the event. Industry experts are calling this approach the deconstructed wedding.
Which is such an interesting phrase.
We saw that term in the sources, and frankly, it sounds a bit pretentious, like a deconstructed cheesecake on a restaurant menu. What does a deconstructed wedding actually entail structurally?
So a deconstructed wedding means abandoning the traditional logic of chronological order and the strict 24-hour timeline.
Okay.
To understand why this is revolutionary, we have to look at the wedding industrial complex. Historically, the wedding industry created the 24-hour pressure cooker to maximize venue profits.
Oh, because venues need to turn over one couple in the morning and bring in another at night.
Exactly. Because of those economic constraints, couples are forced to wake up, get ready, have the ceremony, take photos, eat dinner, dance, and leave, all in a blur of anxiety.
Everyone always tells engaged couples, "I barely remember my wedding day, it went so fast." You are essentially acting as a frantic host, rushing through a rigid production schedule.
A deconstructed wedding breaks those elements apart as a rebellion against that commodification. Lipa and Callum extracted the legal paperwork and the intimate family moments and placed them in London.
Spreading it out.
Right. They moved the cocktail party to a Friday in an Italian piazza. The massive vow swap and dinner took place on a Saturday at a historic mansion, followed by a relaxed gathering on a Sunday.
They capture the true essence of la dolce vita, the sweet life, by allowing the celebration to breathe.
Exactly. They paid off the local residents for the disruption and spread the emotional weight across multiple days and locations.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Looking at how Lipa and Callum Turner structured this, it forces a massive reevaluation of the traditional wedding timeline.
It presents a fascinating framework that can absolutely trickle down from the ultra-wealthy to everyday culture. You don't need $1.7 million to deconstruct a wedding.
Right, you really don't.
The underlying philosophy is simply breaking the event into manageable, distinct moments.
If a wedding isn't confined to a single high-pressure 24-hour window, the emotional weight of getting married fundamentally shifts. You can do a legal registry at the courthouse one month and then do a relaxed backyard party with your friends the next.
By removing the manufactured time constraints imposed by the wedding industry, you allow yourself to actually be present. You strip away the performance anxiety.
You don't have to be everything to everyone all on one single Saturday in June. When you spread the timeline out and when you deconstruct the expectations, the cameras, whether they are paparazzi lenses in Palermo or just your aunt's smartphone in a backyard, finally get to focus on what actually matters.
Yeah, the connection.
Sometimes that's the genuine joy of a grounded partnership, and sometimes it's just the unexpected disruption of a really, really good pleated bib tuxedo shirt. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.